Guess what today is? It's Main Monday. I'm Chris the artist, and this is Main Mondays. This week's question comes from No More Fresh Headaches. She writes, how can you tell if someone has braided your hair too tight when getting a sew-in, braids, natural styles, etc.? To simply answer your question, if it's too uncomfortable for you to bear, then it's too tight for you. But on a professional aspect, if it looks anything like this, then that is way too tight. Some people try to sell you on, oh girl, they just neat. No, that's not neat. That's abuse. That's not hair care at all. You are not helping anyone. And this type of braiding can result in something called traction alopecia. Traction alopecia is one of the most common causes of hair loss in African American women. Although it does happen in other races and cultures, it's one that's really prone to African American women, just because we do a lot of styling and manipulations that cause situations where we do create tension. And sometimes, more often than not, people just don't know how much tension to apply, and they really just overdo it. And they'll say things like, I'm just heavy-handed. No, honey, you're abusive. And ain't nobody got time for that. So you just definitely want to make sure that you are comfortable with the styling. Don't believe that beauty is pain. That's not always the case. Now, getting your eyebrows threaded, that's painful and they beautiful, but not a hairstyle. Like, no, that's not okay. And you want to definitely avoid anyone that is putting you through this kind of abuse. Yes, absolutely. You need a good foundation for your extension installations and things of that nature, but it is a matter of how you properly interlock the hair when creating that braided foundation, not how tight you pull on someone's hair strands and scalp. That will determine the lasting ability of your sew-in. I have customers who never have to take pain medication in order to have their sew-ins installed, and they last. Traction alopecia is something that happens when there is like a reoccurrence of tension and friction being placed on the hair strand area, and like if you just keep pulling back, or even sometimes when you have like you wear your hair down in a bob or whatever and you wear a part, you can sometimes suffer from traction alopecia with that if you constantly are using a fine-tooth comb to style your hair and things like that. So a few things that I want to give you as ways to prevent things like traction alopecia, of course, are some hair tips, and here they are. If you're one of the ladies out there that wears ponytails a lot, I want you to just slightly move your ponytail in different areas. It can be almost centered, but move it in different areas, especially if when you take your ponytails down, you are noticing that things are a little sensitive in the center area. That means that you are well on your way to suffering from some traction alopecia. It may not even be something that you'll notice at first, but you definitely want to move the location of your ponytail from just always in the same spot. I know we have a tendency to do that over and over and over again, but you want to ensure that you're just shifting it just a little. It doesn't have to be a lot of a shift. It can be just a slight shift. Like, you don't have to go from a mid ponytail to a low ponytail, although that would be great if you just want to shift it. For my ladies who wear their hair down a lot and they have partings and things of that nature, sometimes just shift the part a little bit. If you're one that just absolutely loves your part on the left hand side, then by all means wear it on the left, but just shift it a little bit day after day, especially if you're wearing a wrap style. You just want to shift it just a little bit so that you will prevent the thinning that's happening there, and shift it like every couple of days or so. It doesn't have to be like every day you shift it, but just slightly shift the parts so that you'll ensure that you aren't creating a traction alopecia situation for yourself as well. This one applies to everyone with hair. You want to invest in a satin pillowcase. Yes, the friction that is created when you are laying your head on your pillow, the cotton pillow especially, is one that will cause a traction alopecia situation. You may notice that you're having a little more shedding, so you think, which we'll get into in another video, the difference between shedding and breakage, but you may actually be creating a setup for traction alopecia. So invest in a satin pillowcase. I know that some of you have satin head scarves, which is great, but having that satin pillowcase is even better, because sometimes our head scarves find their way to other locations other than our heads while we're sleeping, and if you have that pillowcase there as backup, you'll be doing just great. And this is one that has been around for years. If you are wearing a ponytail, please avoid having the ponytail that holders that have like the little metal clamping that keeps them together. I hardly ever even see them, but you're looking for like the ouchless kind. As always, if you will seek a consultation from a professional hairstylist first, she or he can definitely let you know whether or not that the area in which you have received traction alopecia damage from is something that can be recovered. More often than not, it is, especially if you catch it early. And that concludes this week's Mane Mondays. Thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Please make sure you click and subscribe. And if you'd like to have more daily hair fun, please follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Chris the Artist. All the information is listed below. For your questions, please submit them in the comments or email them to ManeMondays@gmail.com. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Bye.